Hey folks, I'm Melhorn. If you've ever wondered how do you catch white perch in fresh water, well, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know. So white perch are a small fish that live in salt water, and they move into fresh water to spawn, very similar to what a striper does. As a matter of fact, they're actually a cousin of the striped bass, and they've become landlocked, trapped in a lot of reservoirs in the southeast, especially the Carolinas. Now, you don't see them on the western side of the Appalachian Mountains over in the Tennessee River watershed, but you do see them in a lot of places in the Carolinas and up into Virginia, and they're a great catfish bait. There's a lot of perch up through here. What I'm doing is just dropping this rod down, or dropping this line down, and all right guys, I've been wanting to do one of these videos when the perch bite's really hot, when their back's schooled up. Sadly, it's really windy, so I'm going to apologize for the audio in advance. What I got here is just a double hook rig. It's got a sinker on the bottom, just a 1 ounce. Then a couple of lines off of here and some, I think I used a uni knot to tie some of these, but it's got 2 number 6 hooks on it with little bitty pieces of bait. I'm sorry, those are number 8 hooks. They're Gamakatsu octopus circle hooks. Little lightweight spinning rod with some 10-pound braided line on it. What I'm doing is just dropping it to the bottom. Gonna let it hit bottom. And I'm gonna let it sit. The only reason I started jerking because I got hit as soon as it hit the bottom. It's one thing about the braided line, you can tell when you're getting bit really quickly. There seem to be scattered schools of them through here, and varying sizes. There's a small one. Looks similar to a white bass, a little different body size. They are. And they're schooling fish. Kind of through here on the sonar, they're scattered. And then there's pods of them. There's schools of them. And as you can see, even when they're not stacked up, it's about as quick as you can drop the bait, you can catch something. Now, you'll notice there's a piece of bait on this one hook. One hook doesn't have it on there. When they're stacked up and biting, I can catch them on the hook, the bare hook. They will hit it. Now there's a pod of them underneath us right now, pretty good sized school. See if we can get hit. Sometimes it's quick. Sometimes you got to entice them a little bit. Now generally, it's hard to get them to hit 2 bare hooks, but if they're really frenzied up and you've got gold hooks, they'll do it. Now, while they're a great bait, they're a prolific breeder. They breed like crazy, and they develop massive schools of fish. And the downside to that is, while it makes for great bait for the catfish guys out there and the striper guys, the bad part is they got to eat to live, and that means they're eating the fry of a lot of smaller fish. And the decline of crappie populations and other fish populations has been blamed on them. Now, how much truth there is to that, I don't know. But I do know this, in the lakes where we have white perch, the catfish are thriving. That one's already getting bopped. Boom, got him. Got him. What happens is, the reason they'll hit that other bare hook is they see this one over here feeding on something, and then they see that little piece, that little hook flailing around, and they think it's a little fish. So you can literally catch hundreds of these fish if you got your act together. Got a couple of people on the boat, got a couple of rods. The biggest thing is keeping them eating. Right here, they're scattered for hundreds of yards through here. And it's funny, a few months ago, did I get him? Yep. A few months ago, April, May, when these fish were spawning, and see that one hit the bare hook. The bait's actually up here. You couldn't find these fish, and it's like, where the heck are they? I know they're here. But as I was saying, just like the stripers, these fish make a river run in the springtime to spawn. They go upstream. In the wild, they would go from the ocean up into the rivers, find a place to spawn, do their spawning thing, then travel back down the rivers, back out into the ocean. Obviously, they can't do that in these eastern lakes because, well, there are dams in the way. We don't have any locking systems where you can lock through, except down on Santee Cooper, and most of the fish stay trapped in here and basically call it their home. So knowing that spawning pattern gives you a little bit of a clue as to where you can find these fish seasonally. There is a time period generally during the spawn where these fish basically disappear. We wonder where they are in the lake. As that starts to happen, these fish are tough to catch. They are hard to find. But once that's over with, once you get into June, July, on through the rest of the year, these fish get stacked up in massive schools, and when you get on them, they're pretty easy to catch. As it's been said before, sometimes they can be hard to find, but once you do, they're easy to catch. I still see him on the screen. He came off. Oh, he followed it to the top. I'm gonna put a piece of bait on here. These are bare now. We'll double it up. Put a couple of pieces on there. I'm just cutting off a little piece of bluegill here. I've got some bluegill I'm using for bait. Put those on there like that. Pretty sizable pieces of bait for these little bitty fish. They will maul them. Like I said, those are Gamakatsu circle hooks. You can put pretty much any small hook you want on there. You can do this with jigs. You can do this with sabiki rigs too. Sabiki rigs, you can catch 5, 6 of them at a time, depending on the size of your sabikis. And there they are. Boom. Come off of there, sinker. I said you can catch literally hundreds of these things in the right conditions. And these are the right conditions. Outside of the wind we got today. We got some wind. And we got some rain, but the fish are already wet. So what kind of area do you look for these things? Typically, you know, you're looking on, it varies the time of the year. Right now these things are scattered everywhere along the main part of the lake and deeper water. 19, 20 feet seems to be the sweet spot. We're in about 17 right now. I got so many, I'm gonna throw them back now. You know, bigger perch, you'll catch them in 35, 40 feet of water, especially wintertime, that type thing. This time of the year though, 19 seems to be the sweet spot. Boy, it might have, I think I doubled for a second. Had the doubles, they came off. It's funny, there is no bait on the top one and there was a fish on it and he popped off. Now what did they look like on the sonar? Well, they look like a school of little stripers. For those of you that have not fished for stripers before, that basically looks like a big old ball of red spaghetti. It's just a whole lot of twisted red colors in there. Medium-sized signature, individual signature. Unlike some bait fish that you will see, you will actually see the individual fish, and they're basically streaks on your sonar screen. It's because they're active when they're in those schools. They're feeding and they're moving and they're darting around, and if you can find that, the fish are easy to catch after that. The one bad thing is summertime, somewhat hard to keep these things alive in a bait tank. No matter how good a bait tank you got, you really have to swap out the water. I'm not sure what that is. At least with my system, I can't keep them alive but for a few days. So luckily they're fairly easy to catch. As you can see, it's not always like this. There are times when we are out here fishing and you know, we're struggling to find them, and it's like people are, hey, where are the perch at? But right now, this is the time to learn to catch them, because the signature on the sonar is a good one. You can see them, like I said, they get schooled up, and you can really lay into them. And I think they hit it on the way up. Yep, there's a little one. And they're also just scattered along the bottom. So what I do is a lot of times when I'm out here just drifting for them, or drifting for catfish, I will put out a couple of perch rods just to see if there's any of them in the area. and see if I can get on some. And boom, that might be a better one. And some of these get pound and a half. You know, there's one there, probably half pound, maybe 3/4. You'll see some, you'll swear you have a state record, and they're pound and a half. I mean, yeah, that's a better one. They get bigger than this. You get to what I call the eating size ones. You can eat all of them. It's just if you're going to take the time to cut one up and fillet it, you might as well get a big one. There comes the rain back again. A lot of times they kind of hang together by age class. It's a deal where, you know, you'll get into a pile of little fish, and that's kind of what you will be into. I'm trying to get my hood onto my head. There we go. It's like on these, most of the fish we're catching are around this size. This age class of fish seem to be on the smaller side, which is, oh, he made it back. I'm gonna bait it up again. Again, small pieces of bait. Not big at all. Get another one on there. Said you can use red worms. You can use, one of the best baits is pieces of perch. Once you catch one of these things, cut the sides off of it and use an actual piece of the perch for your bait, because they will eat their own. They're cannibals. Kind of got out of them, it looks like a little bit here. I'm going to reset these catfish rods in a minute. I'm doing this while I'm fishing for catfish. I've got my cat tackle set up down through here, making a big long pull across here. And I'm going to reset here in a second. Reset with the wind a little bit, and you know, probably try to drag through some more of these. I just noticed them on the sonar a minute ago. I was like, you know what? This is a good time to drop this down. Looks like they're feeding, and sure enough, we put a bunch of them in the boat in a short amount of time. Now, in some places, you can throw a cast net on them. It depends where you're at. Check your local laws to see what's legal. And when they get schooled up and stacked up, you can load a cast net up, no problem. Most of the time, it's catching them on rod and reel is the easiest way to get them. Most places, there's no limit on these fish either, because they're a fish that they don't exactly want here, and they'd like to get rid of as many of them as they can. You can pretty much keep every one that you catch. Well, folks, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Here are a couple more videos that I think you're gonna like. I'd watch that one and then that one. No, do that one first and then that one. I don't know, just watch them both. They're both good.